So let's talk about the core identity of an African. And the core identity of an African is not an African, because Africa is just a landmass where very many peoples live. And it's, we can say, is a more modern creation, that identity itself. So it's not the core of an African. And the language group is not at the core of the identity of an African. And when I say language group, I mean Bantu, Kushite, Nilotes. It's not at the core of the identity of an African. Most Africans don't walk around thinking of this themselves in terms of the language group, the language they speak belongs to. It's not something that is that common. And also, the not even the family that an African comes from is at the core of the identity. It's part of it, but it's not at the core. It's not the core identity of an African, the family they come from. The core identity of an African is the tribe they come from. That's the core identity of an African. The tribe, of course, gives them language, but it gives them more than just language. The tribe gives them customs, culture, and teachings, and brotherhood, most importantly, brotherhood. And brotherhood, I mean, is the belonging you get when you are initiated into the tribe. Of course, most people are born in the tribe, but you don't become a full member of the tribe, at least in most African tribes, until you are initiated. And this often happens partly in the form of circumcision, but circumcision is just a symbolic action. The real initiation happens when you are taught the customs of the tribe, and you are taught about the culture of the tribe, and you are taught about how to live as a member of the tribe, and you are given the secrets of the tribe. And in many cases, you are made to take an oath to protect the tribe, but also to protect some of those secrets that you learn about the tribe. And you're also taught during that time on how to become a warrior, for example. So that's when you actually became a member of the tribe, or you actually become a member of the tribe, because it still happens in most African tribes. Of course, the genetics have something to do with it. Most people born in a tribe are born into it, and to some extent, everyone is related to everyone, but it's not 100% genetic, because thus you end up with people who came from other tribes and joined a tribe, and they started speaking the language, and they intermarried with the tribe, or maybe not actually, but they accepted the culture, at least the customs, and they allowed or agreed to be initiated into the tribe, and they became members of the tribe. Yeah, so genetics has something to do with it, but it's not 100% genetics. It's more of culture and customs and beliefs and being initiated into the brotherhood. So tribe is what an African walks around thinking about as their core identity most of the time. They do think of these others, race and nationality or country where they come from, their citizenship to a certain country. But mostly, most Africans think of themselves in terms of the tribe they come from. And an African is more relaxed when he's with other people from their own tribe. And in fact, when two Africans meet, the first thing that often is everybody is trying to determine is, what tribe are you? And because what tribe you are to somebody determines a lot on how you are going to interact, including the topics that are going to be discussed and the topics that are going to be avoided, and the things that can be done and things that cannot be done together. An African is likely to give a fellow tribesman more support than they can give anybody else. And I'm speaking in general terms here. And an African is more likely to vote according to how their tribe is going to benefit, or what their tribe has agreed, or the consensus the tribe has. It in most cases less to do with an individual deciding, I'm going to vote like this. It might seem so, but you'll find that tribes vote in particular patterns, so that you'll find in most countries, in fact, is if some politician is looking to be elected, they are talking to tribes, not individuals. So an African will prefer someone from their tribe to be the president, for example. Somebody might say that religion can take away some of that, but when push comes to shove, an African will prefer standing with someone who is not of the same religion as them, but from their tribe, and not stand with somebody who is of the same religion like them, but of different tribes. When push come to shove, most Africans will prefer to lean more towards their tribe identity than anything else. And an African, at the end, generally speaking, will prefer that when they die, it's his tribesmen that will bury him and do the cultural rituals that will connect him to his ancestors, who are the ancestors of the tribe, of course. Yeah, so even at the end, an African will prefer his core identity of the tribe to supersede most other identities. Of course, there are cases where people would prefer religious identity to be above their tribal, but generally speaking, even when religious rituals are performed, you'll realize that in many cases, the tribal cultural rituals are going to be performed anyways, maybe later. Anyways, the tribal identity is controversial. It's very controversial in many countries in Africa because it is seen as something negative, especially because of the conflicts that have been created by the tribal identity. The tribal identity in itself is not a problem. It's how it can be used to divide people and to make people see each other as enemies rather than just being like, oh, those are those people and we are us and we can work together and it's okay. You can believe in whatever you believe in. You can practice your cultural whatever you practice, but we can coexist, especially if we are living in the same commonwealth. Yeah, so those are my random thoughts.